Well, we're in for a thrilling day four of the second test between South Africa and India. This test could go either way. It's been a proper boxing match, equal from round to round. Very difficult to call which way this test is going to go. The passionate South African fans are going to stand behind their captain and Rassie van der Dussen and hope that they can eat away at that runs needed to win. Whereas India and the Indian fans are going to obviously back their bowlers 100%, and they're going to back them till the end, because I think that they're going to look at them and say that there are some technical flaws in the South African batters that they found out in the batting camp that they can exploit. There are certain patches or cracks on the pitch that they can exploit. We even saw that Ashwin, towards the end of the day, picked up a wicket too. So there's a lot in it for South Africa and there's a lot in it for India. And we can see a winner either or. It's about who wants it more right now at this point. Do South Africa want it more or do India want it more? Who is it that's going to put in the performance that is needed, that their team needs? Because there's a lot of history involved with this particular fixture as well. South Africa have never beaten India at the Wanderers, and India have never won a series in South Africa. So India already broke a record that South Africa didn't want broken, and that was a win at Centurion, which they haven't done before. Now South Africa want to try and beat India for the first time at the Wanderers, and also prevent history from happening for India to pick up their first ever win in South Africa. So there's a lot riding on this particular test. There's a lot riding on this particular series. There's a lot riding on every single day that takes place in this particular test match, particularly for the newer guys getting valuable experience in the middle. So this is your review show. This is an opportunity for you guys to come on the show and have a chat with us and talk to us and give us your opinions on the particular day and the match. You know that we've been doing this consistently every single day. So we will continually do this leading up to the end of this tour. So it includes the and every single series that happens after that, actually. So my confidence is up. I'm confident that our team can do it, and I'm sure Aditya will be confident that his team can do it. So this is going to be a proper um, discussion, I feel, and analysis of the two sides, because we will be seeing things in our favor from different viewpoints. And whoever's going to come on the show and have their say, you guys can do so too. So to the guys that are new to this channel and haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Please click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. The link is in the description. Every issue 100% free, including the back issues. So you'll get everything 100% free and access to everything as soon as you subscribe. So go ahead and look for that link in the description. Without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and I'm joined here by Ditya and Werner today on the review show. We're going to be chatting about day 3 of the second test between South Africa and India. Now, the game is poised for a thrilling end to the match. It could possibly end on day 4. We are most likely going to hope so that it ends on day 4 for South Africa's point of view. Early on, first session, done, dusted. Now I'm joking. I mean, I would be really impressed with that. Let's just talk about the game so far. What an excellent test match it's been. It's been a battle between the bowlers, particularly, and the guys that are going to obviously fight hard for their runs. And that's what we've seen today. There are some technical things that we can chat about, but let's not get into that quite yet. I want to move this on like categorically. So like in categories. So let's just do it in step by step. Let's just first start with the end of today's play. How are we currently feeling about the match situation? Let's start with Aditya and then we can go to Werner.
I think the game is evenly poised, and uh, you know, starting tomorrow, both teams have an equal chance of winning the game. Let's see how it goes. I mean, today I thought, excuse me, uh, today I thought early on, India really took the advantage, and Pujara and Rahane were quite aggressive in the way that they started, and I think following that, it took some magic from KG to really bring South Africa back into the game. So post that, I think getting to what was it 266 at the end of day's play was a good effort from India, and 240 it's is more than looks. I think South Africa have batted really well to be in the position that they're in, needing only 122 to go. Uh, but I do think that it's going to be a challenging task tomorrow.
Yeah, I also think it's pretty evenly poised. Uh, I think India are still slightly ahead at this stage, even though we batted very well. We know how quickly collapses happen at the Wanderers and how quickly it has happened for South Africa in the past. So even though we did very well to get through to the end of the day, only two down, having made 118, things can change around very quickly again in the morning session, especially with Algar and Rossi having to get their eyes in again. So yeah, but I'm glad to see some real fight this time, not just capitulating under 100 runs. We are really fighting it out there. Algar taking blows as usual. He knows one way of doing it, and that way works for him, and that works for me as well.
I was getting a little bit nervous just before the end of play because I was hoping that South Africa could just see off that final 30 minutes. That was at 5 o'clock, and we know that it can get quite tricky going into the final session, towards the end of the final session, sorry. And I was just hoping that South Africa could fight it out, especially Rassi lost his wicket before before a day's play and before session already, and we didn't want that to happen again. So Dean Alga being on 46, I'm not worried about that he didn't get his milestone before the end of the day, although some people might be. I love that they fought to the end when it comes to this, and they look like they seem to be seeing the ball quite well. I mean, okay, yes, it's natural that Dean Alga is going to take a couple of blows, but the consensus throughout this series has been the same when it comes to the pitch. That first 30 minutes, the ball does tend to come on the bat quite nicely, and batters have been able to get some good decent runs at least in that first 30 minutes of the day, before the first drinks break. So I think if South Africa can capitalize on that, if the wicket is going to be as spongy as it has been in the first session of every day, South Africa can really put themselves in a strong position going into the more difficult part of the day. I think surviving that lunch without a wicket down is going to be so crucial for South Africa, just from a mentality perspective, because then I would back them 100% to get over the line. I think if they can get to a decent score by lunch, then after lunch they can come in and really play an expansive brand of cricket if they wanted to. They don't necessarily have to go and sit and guts it out, and they can play a free flowing game. That's even there is like 50 runs left to go after lunch, something like that, which I'm hoping for. Um, Let's talk about the technical flaws, because I think there's one particular batter that we want and that we need to talk about, and that's Aiden Markram. I noticed there are some people that are very critical of Aiden Markram, and I can understand the criticism, particularly because of the amount of games he's played by now. The technical flaws, the small little technical flaws that he has in his game, has been identified by good bowlers. So at the beginning of his career, what we've noticed is that he used to nick off quite a bit. There used to be games where he would play outside off and just throw his wicket away and nick it, or hit it directly to a fielder, or nick it directly to the slips or to the keeper. So over the time, you saw him move a little bit, taking that off off stump type of middle stump off stump guard, and standing a little bit with his foot almost on the crease more than, and then move out according to how the conditions are. And we saw that particularly in this match. And him losing his wicket against Shami over and over. He's moved around a lot outside the crease, inside the crease, trying to predict that the trajectory of the ball and trying to get to that swing of the ball. But what's happened in reverse is that it's opened him up for the chance of LBW a lot more. So he's kind of been trapped a lot LBW in the recent times because a good bowler is going to notice that and catch him out. And if the ball's coming zipping in and keeping low, almost always is going to be trapped LBW. And that's a technical thing that he needs to maybe work out of his game. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's whether he needs to stand maybe a little bit leg and middle, or more middle, or stand more out of his crease or inside his crease. I don't know what's going to work for him as a batter, because it all depends on the shots that he feels comfortable playing as well. But we do know that there's a technical flaw in that aspect of his game, that he's getting caught by good bowlers. They're noticing that flaw in his game and they're targeting him. Werner, am I wrong by saying that, or is my analysis incorrect?
No, I agree. I think, although I'm not a batting coach and I don't know all the technical aspects of batting, I feel like his bat swing is not coming down right at this moment. It's coming from more. Okay, so with him batting on off stump, he's really working around himself with any straight deliveries. And especially with any ball that nips back in, which is difficult to face in any case. It's good bowling as well. Tucker bowled a very good ball and it kept low. But with him not playing the ball from where it's coming and not playing it in a straight line, he's working around his pad. And not only is he then not getting in behind the ball, but it's also taking longer to get to the ball. So if you play in a straight line, that's generally in life as well. When you go in a straight line, that's the quickest from point A to point B. And it's kind of the same with batting. If your bat is coming down in a straight line, you get to the ball quicker. And what's happening now is Aiden is playing around his front pad, and then by the time he gets there, the ball has already beaten him, and he's also coming in with an angle, so he's presenting less of the bat. He's not presenting the full face of the bat like you would hear is the right way to do it. So I think that's probably what's happening right now. He's playing around his front pad. Even those two clips to the leg side you saw today, he was playing it with a very closed bat face, and that could have easily also been got him out RBW if it had moved a little bit more. So it is a technical thing, and I think it's really something that he can work out. I don't think it will take a massive adjustment. Maybe try middle stump guard, and it might not even be the off stump guard. It might just be the backswing that's coming off from an angle going in front of the pad, because you can notice someone like Alga. He's also batting an off stump with the guys coming around the wickets to him, right? But it doesn't really trouble him because he plays with his pad comes through fairly straight, and he plays out a bit in front of his pad, so he generally doesn't get hit on the pads. So it's just something you can work on. I don't think it's a major deal, and I think he'll adjust.
Yeah, I mean, Aditya, that's probably the main point there, is that playing across the line is the problem over here. He needs to just keep his bat straight.
Yeah, but that's difficult, right? If you're taking off stump guard, then at some point the ball that's straight on middle stump, it means that you're inevitably going to be playing across the line, and if you miss that one, then you're going to be LBW. So again, as Sunil Gavaskar indicated uh, on air, that taking off stump guard is a mistake for Markram, because he is playing across the line, and you can't afford to do that. Because then you're left vulnerable to all the balls that that come in. So he suggested that Aiden Markram takes either leg stump or middle stump or two leg, which is between leg and middle. Um, that might be uh, that might be beneficial. Uh, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know why Markram has been using the off stump guard. Um, and what the rationale is behind it. But if if the rationale behind it is to get at more balls outside the off stump and to score quickly, then that's counterproductive in my view, because at some because in Test cricket, you ultimately you have to leave balls. You have to tire oppositions out as well. And the bad balls will come, and Markham is good enough to put them away. So I don't think he really needs to force the scoring rate in Test cricket, because if that's why he's taking the off stump guard, then I think that's the wrong reason to do it, in my view.
I,
I
I,
think I think also
sorry.
he's been specifically struggling with the likes of the swing bowlers swinging away from him as well. He's been struggling to read those deliveries as well. I think maybe that's also why he's kind of moved over, so that when he's trying to play with the back foot, etc., it's a little bit easier for him that way.
Yeah, I think the reason, and obviously we'll only know if we talk to Aiden, and I'm sure we will probably at some stage. Um, I think the reason he's been batting on off stump is particularly because he has been nicking off so much in the past, and I think the reasoning therefore is that he wants to leave the ball more. And if you stand on off stump, you know that anything outside your eye line is past the off stump, and he can leave it. I think that's probably the main reason he has
Yeah.
been doing it, but that has them caused the problems we've seen now. So I don't think that's necessarily the right approach.
Mm. Exactly, and that's why I said good bowlers will work him out. They've noticed that that's the case, and now he's getting trapped LBW quite a bit. We've seen it on multiple occasions now in the last couple of series that has happened to him, and yeah, it's just something that he needs to work out. With regards to Keegan Peterson, again looking really good. I think we need to persist with him. Uh, I think that would be a good idea from that perspective. Yeah, guys, I just uploaded the the SA Putting Consultant interview right now while we were live. I was listening to the guys as well at the same time. So just go ahead and watch that after this show, please. Smash the like button as well. 30 likes I want to see on this video at the end of this video. So Keegan Peterson, I think we need to persist with. Let's see what happens with Rassi. I'm really hoping that Rassi can come to the party. It's dangerous for India right now because Rassi is in a position where he doesn't have runs under his belt for this particular series, and now it's up to him to really prove the doubters wrong. And also, I think that the sledging that's happening behind the wickets from Punt and the rest of the team is actually going to help Rassi actually focus more. I think it's going to give him more incentive to take it on. I liked it though. I liked the vibe. I liked that Punt gave, because he was respectable but still sledging at the same time, which I enjoy. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Unlike the Aussies who get very personal and rude.
No, it today felt like a real test match.
Yeah.
It's great. The battle between Pant and Rossi, the battle between Bumrah and Janssen. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the passion. I know people's like, oh no, they shouldn't get into it, but I like a fast bowler who stands up for himself, who can show a bit of aggression. It's good. Dale Steyn would have never backed down to anybody, so it's good to see it. I don't think there's really much in it. I don't think there should be too much made about it. So it's good to see the passion, and I love games within the game. It's always great. That's the thing about test matches. Over 5 days, there's so much happening within a test match. There's always some little thing happening somewhere that if you're not like a keen or avid cricket follower, you totally miss. But as for some people like us who really follow it closely, there's so much going on in between that we enjoy, and why we enjoy test matches so much. A lot of people don't really watch, say, no, test matches are boring, it's so long, nothing happens. No, I like everything is happening. Don't you see?
Every ball something's happening in test cricket. That's what I don't understand. Like something can change like that. If we can just find a way to explain test cricket to the guys that are not such avid cricket watch viewers, you could call them watchers. I was going to say viewers. Then if we can manage to do that and refine that love for them, maybe that's what Cricket Fanatics magazine's job should be down the line, to help these guys understand what the excitement is about it. Because, for example, I can give a good example is Aiden's wicket. Look how he was set up. That scramble seam. I know people might just say, "Oh, it's just a slight scramble seam that we should be able to read it." That scramble seam on this surface is almost impossible to read. We were listening to Vernon Philander talk about it in the press box as well, and he specifically said even him as the bowler, he doesn't know where the ball's going to go. So imagine how hard it's going to be for the batter to understand to decide that. That scramble seam skill, it's something that South Africa really, like, I think only Lungi Ngidi really has started to master that particular ball, that delivery, because the way um, Indian bowlers have done it is superb, because you don't know if the ball's going to come in and or go out. It makes it very difficult to read, and that's how also Aiden was set up in that way, because he did not know where that ball was going to, if it's going to keep low, if it's going to come high, or it's going to come in.
Yeah, it's also the same way Willie Fear got Agarwal. It probably wasn't a great leave, but still that ball he also used the scramble seam and it nipped back quite a lot from
Mm.
outside off, and he probably thought it was just going to go on straight and he could leave it easily. So it definitely is a skill and something you can use.
We were talking to just go back to the sledging. It was hilarious to watch, and I guess from an Indian perspective, it was even worse because it began around the time that Pant came into bat. There was quite a lot of chirping going around, and then Pant played a stupid shot that I have to say that all of India was outraged by. I can't begin to tell you this sort of stuff that we've heard from some of the Indian experts on Twitter and otherwise. And like there were people who were literally fuming at that shot. You know, and Pant is normally quite a he's got a fan and an expert favorite. And uh, to see him get out the way he did was quite irritating. But then there was that little bit of chirping there, which Pant responded to when Rassi came on to bat. And I thought that back and forth exchange between the two was quite hilarious. And it was also interesting to see what happened with Marco Janssen and Bumrah, because both of them play for the same team in the IPL, so they know each other, and it's obviously it was good to see young Janssen give it back to Bumrah, because he's obviously the younger one in the equation, and looking up at 6 feet 8 inches, he had some serious fire in his eyes.
Was I correct in hearing that Pant told Rassi, the number four is coming out here just for sledging?
He called him Sledger Boy. He's because Rassi changed his guard to off stump when Ashwin came on to bowl, and Pant said something along the lines of, "Look at this number four. He's changing his guard. He doesn't know what his guard is. He's coming as a Sledger Boy," which is in
That's really good.
response to what I guess what Rassi was saying when Pant had come into bat.
Yeah. No, excellent. I love to see this competitiveness in Test cricket. It's the battle of the mind, the battle of techniques, the battle of everything. Basically, it's endurance, it's strength, it's concentration. There's so many things, that physicality, fitness, everything is coming into play when it comes to Test cricket. I mean, it's just an unbelievable format. Okay, what else is there to talk about? There is one more thing I wanted to raise, and that's the difference that we've seen behind the stumps. Calvarena, doing quite excellently behind the stumps from a wicket keeper's perspective. We're seeing from it's something that I pointed out before. We were talking about Carl taking the gloves from Quinny. I kept on saying, based on my experience and what I've seen, that Carl is the best wicketkeeper in the country from my perspective when it comes to technique. And there's one little thing that decides that for me is, if you watch Calvarena, there's not a lot of dives that come in for simple catches. He doesn't often dive for catches unless he really, really needs to. There's a double step that he does quite quickly. His foot movement behind the stumps is brilliant. You would have seen that sometimes he steps for the catch if it's going to come have an edge, and then sometimes he'll just go this way and then he'll catch it. So he'll step this way and then catch it this side, because he's almost trying to keep moving behind the stumps and trying to predict whether the ball's going to come off an edge or not, or it's going to hit a glove or something. So the way he does it is, he'll rather double step and take a catch than dive for balls that is not needed, like when he doesn't need to. And that also prolongs your career as a wicketkeeper if your technique is right. And I think that Carl is one of the best when it comes to technique and as a wicketkeeper. I've spoken in depth with his wicketkeeper coach back in Cape Town. And he's given me some great insight into Carl as a wicketkeeper and the way, and I've seen their training, how they've trained together. So that's why I've believed that for quite some time. And yeah, you'll see it particularly in the 4-day arena. If you watch the Western Province Blitz play at all, the Cobras play at all, you'll see it a lot. When it comes to that, he's also very quick behind the stumps. When he needs to go for stumpings, etc. But yeah, I've enjoyed his wicket keeping so far. He's been pretty good, not many mistakes made. So yeah, that's just my assessment when it comes to Kyle. That's why I always am going to say that he should be the wicket keeper best in the side if they're looking for a wicket keeper. Um, Ultimately, for me, he's definitely the best when it comes to technique.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Yeah, it's very hard to find. Yeah, it's very hard to find flaws with Kyle's work with the gloves, and if anything, he's only going to get better with time. At the international level. So if this is his starting point, then I think that's already very encouraging for South Africa.
Mm. And my ranking when it comes to wicket keepers, talented wicket keepers in the country, I don't want to leave anybody out here, but from the guys that are regular keepers, for me it's Carl, it's Grant Rudolphson. I think he's an excellent keeper as well. He's also very good behind the stumps. And I'll put Ryan at the bottom there because I feel that Ryan is a good keeper, but I think his batting is better than his keeping, to be honest. And that's just my personal opinion. Whereas I think with Kyle Verreynne, yes, you can call his batting better because of his average and you can see the way he bats. But I think there's less kinks to work out in his keeping than with his batting currently at the international level. When it comes to international level, I think there's still some kinks that he needs to work out in his batting and it may be the way he's stuck in his crease. But with his wicket keeping, I don't think there's much that he needs to change. I think his wicket keeping is almost flawless. But Werner, I would like to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely a technically sound keeper. I've always also said he's very good with his feet getting across. You see any ball going down the leg side as well. Quick double step to the left side, taking it comfortably, doesn't need to dive. Makes it look very, very simple. I think that it like umpires, the same thing counts for keepers. If there isn't really a lot of talk about them, then you know they're doing a good job, right? Usually when you talk about umpires is when they made a bad decision or something. But like at least in this game, the debutant Palekar has done a great job as umpire, and that has been recognized. Made very good decisions. He's been very solid. But in general, you would not hear too much about an umpire or a wicketkeeper if they're doing a good job, because then it goes like under the radar. Because a keeper, if he's doing his job, then there's nothing to really say. He's just doing a good job, and it doesn't really get said that much. Then most of the talk is about the batsman or the bowlers. You won't hear too many talk about the keeper unless he takes a great diving catch. So that's probably a good way to look at it. Not a lot has been said about Kyle, and that means he's doing his job very well.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, let's wrap this up. Let's go into this final day. Who are we backing? Obviously, Aditya, are you very confident that India can win this?
Yes.
Oh, that's a pity. Werner?
um, it's a tough one because I've seen us lose from this type of position a lot of times. But if we can get through that first session without losing more than, say, 1 wicket, and we can add 70 runs, 70, 80 runs, then we'll be in a solid position. Obviously, because we don't need that much. We only need 122 runs, right? So that it's all going to come down to that first session. I'd love to see Rassie be a bit more positive in his approach. I don't want him to get stuck there at the crease and make 20 of 110 balls. That's not really going to benefit the team. And the thing is, like I think I've said yesterday as well, somewhere along the line, you're going to get a good ball. And you saw the balls that hit Algar today and one that kept low to Rassie. You might get one that keeps low and hits you on the pad, and there's nothing you can do about it. But what happens until that point is up to you. You can look to be more positive. I'm not saying go play recklessly as society off stump, but don't let the short and wide ball go past like Rassie did a few times today, or let the half volley go past, or let something on your legs go past. Make sure you put it away to the boundary. Make sure you're proactive in your running. just look to be positive. Him and Alga both. I think Alga was more positive today. I enjoyed his approach a lot more than he did in the first innings, and I think he should continue that way. I think both of them, and I hope Verena comes in and has a Bavuma first. Bavuma's looking great form. Hopefully he can continue with that. Hopefully Kyle can get his feet moving a bit quicker tomorrow, and hopefully we won't even need Janssen. Fingers crossed, because if Janssen comes in, Boomerang's coming straight in. He's going to get bouncer, 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 slower ball Yorker out. So, so hopefully that won't be needed, and we'll by the time Kyle gets in, we're close to winning, and they finish it off, and we're because obviously for most of our South African fans and neutral fans, we want the 1-1 going into Newlands with the series still on the line. So I would love for us to pull this off. I think it would be a great achievement actually getting to 40 on this beach, and I am still 50-50 about whether it's going to happen or not, but I would love for it to happen.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to remain positive. South Africa just need to be patient, man, with their runs for selecting the balls that they want to hit to the boundary and selecting which ones they. I think rotating the strikes is going to be very important because they still have a right-left-hand combination over here. It's going to put the guys off. So I think that will be a good plan, is to try and get scoring. Even if it is a single every second ball or a single every ball or whatever the case may be, just keep the ball ticking over slowly. But by the time India look up there, they're going to see those singles and those doubles are going to start counting for something, and it's going to start putting pressure on India and helping them take risks more. They're going to take more risks. The more risks they take, the more chance South Africa have to put those balls away. So they just need to be calm, collected, and bat as a team, bat as a unit.
Yeah, and hopefully the rain doesn't play spoil sport tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen too. Yes. And even if it does, still have another day, guys. So it's all good. It's all good. There's enough time. There's enough time for us to chase down 122. Please don't make a big fuss about this, guys. Like, I just hope our batters don't make a big problem about this now. It's 122 runs. Go ahead and get that runs. We believe in you. Alga, we needed a captain knock for some time. Let's have your first century as a captain, or a first century as a captain under your belt. I would love to see that. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't also forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free in your inbox every single month. Just go ahead and click on the link in the description to take you straight to the landing page, and where you'll find all your back issues as well. Smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, do all of those things, and we'll see you again tomorrow with another review show. Let's hope that it's a South African victory. All of us believe that's on screen right now. South African victory. Cheers, guys.